Hello and a warm welcome to TVC News. Our top stories. Government to work on CAG's recommendations. Moi successfully performs brain surgery.
Any patient with a deep-seated brain tumor will be a candidate of the service of this machine when they want to do a biopsy before we know what kind of swelling that is.
Good evening, I am Faida Ngaga. You can also follow us live via our YouTube channel, TVC Online. Also, get all the latest news through our Instagram, Facebook, and X pages at TVC Online. President Samia Suluhu Hassan says that the 2023-2024 government audit report reflects the efforts made by the government in empowering public institutions to work efficiently. Here's a report by Harry Mabungo, read to you by Teddy Mparanyanga.
Upon receiving the 2023-2024 report from the Controller and Auditor General CAG, as well as the annual performance report of the Prevention and Combating of Corruption Bureau, the President stated that there has been a significant improvement in the effectiveness of government resource use.
Jitihada kadhaa zinafanywa kuziimarisha taasisi za umma ili ziweze kutumia vizuri rasilimali za serikali.
Several efforts are being made to strengthen public institutions so that they can better utilize government resources while adhering to the procedures used in the management of those resources. Along with the shortcomings mentioned, as you've heard, many of these shortcomings are from many years ago, and if you take into account the progress made, there have been an increase in efficiency in the utilization of government resources. This is our comfort as a government. We have been able to promote transparency and accountability and ultimately achieve good governance.
Furthermore, President Dr. Samia Suluhu Hassan stated that the government will submit the CAG's report to the Speaker of the Parliament as required by the Constitution and will take action based on the performance report from the Prevention and Combating of Corruption Bureau.
Taarifa hii imeonyesha kabisa kwamba TAKUKURU sasa wanafanya kazi.
This report indicates that PCCB is working in accordance with the procedures they are required to follow, which is why they have been able to identify all these issues and address them. Additionally, the report has highlighted the improvement in efficiency with our institutions.
Earlier, while presenting the government's financial report for the year 2023-2024, the Controller and Auditor General, Charles Kichera, mentioned that the assessment of the national debt remains sustainable at 23.6% of the national GDP.
Kufikia tarehe 30 Juni 2024, deni la serikali lilifikia shilingi trilioni 97.
As of June 30, 2024, the government debt reached Tanzanian shillings 97.35 trillion. This amount has increased from Tanzanian shillings 82.25 trillion, which was reported in 2022 and 2023 financial year. An assessment of the sustainability of government debt has determined that the national debt is still manageable.
On his part, the Director General of PCCB, Crispin Chalamila, said that the assessment of the state of corruption in the country indicates improved discipline and good governance in the performance of duties. He added that in the year 2024-2025, the institution plans to prevent corruption during elections in key areas, including education, infrastructure, and the use of information technology.
Successes in the fight against corruption in the country have strengthened good governance, improved service delivery to citizens, and achieved value for money in the implementation of development projects. Moreover, Tanzania is the second country which is the lowest rate of corruption among 10 member states of the East African Community.
The submission of the government's financial audit report to the President of the United Republic of Tanzania is a constitutional requirement that mandates the Controller and Auditor General to send the audit report to the President, who then submits it to the Parliament.
And now, to discuss more about the CAG report, we are joined in the studio with Joseph Shefu, who is an economic analyst, but also the CEO of Ernst & Young Tanzania. Joseph, welcome to TBC.
Thank you, Faida.
So, when the CAG report says the national debt is bearable, What does it mean?
Okay, so the CAG Secretary has clearly mentioned that the public debt is sustainable. So based on the standards, so you mentioned overall public debt stands at about 41.1, and this is compared to the benchmark of 55%. So that is still bearable. When you look at the sustainability of public debts, is looking at firstly in terms of ability to settle the debts, given the potential of revenue in the future in the country. But what's most important also to understand that all countries have to, in terms of funding the public spending, they have to incur debts. So if you compare to our neighbors, Kenya public debt is at 70%. So they are well above 55%, which is benchmark put by the World Bank for Sub-Saharan Africa. Rwanda is also about 70%. But also if you go further apart, like in the UK and the US, they're about 100% in terms of public debts. So for Tanzania, I think it's still sustainable by the benchmark. What's important is what do we utilize those public debts for? So as much as the debt is increasing, but also the assets are increasing, and there is improvement in public services, like the new major infrastructure that have actually come into place. Yes, it's 18% increase year on year. It's pretty significant increase by 18%. But again, the assets we have, the country in terms of the major infrastructures, they actually needed funds. But of course, the other side is that the improving in terms of domestic tax to reach 15% of GDP is important, because that's an area where we are falling behind. And you probably heard about the law collections in the local authority areas. I think that's the area that we'll need to focus more.
Also, the report mentions about some corporations, public corporations that are operating at a loss. What could possibly be the problem?
Yeah, so, well, we have flagship public corporations, the likes of TTCL. So this TTCL, these are telecom companies that we have to harness in terms of improving. First of all, capital is very important. We need to capitalize, because the telecom is actually advanced very fast, and we have to get new equipments and a new system, but also improve management and accountability. We need to, I mean, Treasury Registrar is doing a lot of commendable work in transforming the public institutions. So we need to look at governance, management capacity, but capital is very important. Capital and modernizing these institutions. But some of the institutions, we may need to reassess their needs. Most recently, the government actually combined some of those institutions, that which helped, but we still need to go phase 2 now to look at, we need to change the culture of those organizations. They have to think more like commercial oriented organization, because these are government business entities. They're supposed to operate not as a government, but as a private institutions. But also we need to strengthen Treasurer Registrar role, so that he has more power to be able to monitor these organizations. I think there was a bill being discussed in terms of how do we enhance and transform the Treasury Registrar Office to become public investment corporations. And that model is a very important model to be able to support these public institutions to move forward.
What are general observations when you heard this report today? What were your general observations?
So I think what the CAG made pretty clear is that there has been tremendous improvements in public finance and accountability. So we have seen 99.5% of the all the government institutions, which is MDAs, they've that's the pass rate, call it the pass rate, in terms of getting Hati Safi, which is a clean opinion. So if you look compared to last year, you will see last year we were about 99% overall across local government, central government, but also public institutions. But this year there has been an improvement to about 99.5% overall, and therefore less institutions have got Hati Chafu, which is a bad report. So, and also in terms of the performance audit, there has been a tremendous improvement as per the CAG. But again, the nitty-gritty is in the report. This report has been read in summary, and the pudding actually is certainly in the cake. We'll have to see the reports when it comes to the public to analyze deeper to understand what actually is happening. But of course, there is a dismal performance, I'll say bad performance on the 6 local government authority spearheaded. The 3 ones are in Dar es Salaam. The GG, for example, revenue shortfall by 80%. My goodness gracious, 80%, like from 10 billion to you're just making 3 billion. That's huge loss.
What do you think is the reason for that?
Yeah, I think there has to be improvement in terms of how they manage local government revenue. So majority of the revenue is collected via agents, collection agents, garbage collections, also in terms of municipal services that the municipal council. We may have to look at, should we go back to TRA to collect municipal revenue? Probably. TRA proved to be more efficient. So, but they have to put those agents, collecting agents, to put them accountable, and they have to have models to predict how much money the agents should actually collect, but they should not take a word of the agents. But also CAG recommended that we need to bind these revenue collection agents, to bind them that if there will be shortfall, they should make good those shortfalls. So monitoring, accountability is important. And best way of actually collecting. But we have seen like property levy collection via Luku. Nowadays, even people don't own houses, they pay property tax anyway, because if you rent a house, if you don't actually do well in terms of registering yourself, you end up paying property tax. So I believe property tax through Luku is actually collecting more money, but I'm surprised to see those significant shortfalls. So they have to innovate, use technology to be able to collect more at the local government authority.
Thank you very much, Joseph, for that in-depth analysis.
Thank you.
Now, in other news, the Muhimbili Orthopedic Institute, MOI, under the supervision of a team of experts from the United States, has successfully performed the first ever brain surgery on a patient using artificial intelligence technology. Emmanuel Samuel reports.
Development in science and technology has made it possible to have advanced treatment, making progress in health sector in the country. Speaking immediately after the first ever brain surgery in patients using artificial intelligence technology at Muhimbili Orthopedic Institute, MOI, the executive director of the institute, Dr. Mpoki Ulusubisya, says that the success is due to the massive investment done by the government.
It's our privilege to thank God for the step that has given us another milestone at the Muhimbili Orthopedic Institute in Dar es Salaam, where the very first brain lab conducted procedure of taking a brain biopsy for a tumor that was deep-seated in the brain has been conducted. And this was under the hand of one of our own doctor, born, bred, and raised here in the country.
Dr. Ulusubisya added that the availability of such modern equipment will make it easier for them to save more patients.
All I can say is that any patient with a deep-seated brain tumor will be a candidate of the service of this machine when they want to do a biopsy before we know what kind of swelling that is. Now, so we can't say how many will, but we say all those with such a problem will benefit from this intervention.
How big is the problem of brain tumors in Tanzania?
What is the disease burden in our country with regard to brain tumors? There's no really published data on the epidemiology or prevalence of the brain tumors in the country. But what we have is the institutional series or institutional report, whereby we have on average 600 cases, 550 to 600 cases, which we receive in a year. Back in 2008, specialists were only 3 in this hospital. But now we are talking about more than 15 specialists, super specialists actually.
The director of brain surgery from the Weill Cornell University, USA, Professor Rogers Hertz, says that the arrival in Tanzania will also help establish a comprehensive service for the patients with spinal cord problems.
Our vision is to do exactly the same thing here in Tanzania at MOI, to bring together all the specialists that take care of spine patients, in addition to the surgeons, and make this also a comprehensive spine center.
Since the institution entered into a partnership with Weill Cornell University of the USA in 2008, a number of more specialist doctors has increased. Reporting from Dar es Salaam, Emmanuel Samuel, TBC News.
Commissioner of Department of Administration of Government Debt in the Ministry of Finance, Jafet Justin, has met and held talks with a delegation from Danish Public Investment Fund for Developing Countries, IFU, that was led by Denmark Ambassador to Tanzania, Jasper Kamashgar. The talks focused on various opportunities, including loans to implement development projects in water and energy sectors. Through the fund, Tanzania can benefit from equity investment and guarantees. The meeting was attended by senior officials from IFU, Tina Hansen and Theo Larsen. In other news, the rector of the Institute of Tax Administration, ITA, Professor Isaiah Jairo, says that capability and efficiency of education standards offered by ITA plays a significant role in enhancing tax collection, also clearing and forwarding services in the country. He made the remarks in Dar es Salaam during the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding between Institute of Tax Administration and Tanzania Freight Forwarders Association, TAFA.
We had a Memorandum of Understanding before. This is a renewal. So we are signing for the second time, and the Memorandum of Understanding will last for 5 years. After that, we hope to renew it again. The certificate, the East African Clearing and Forwarding Certificate, can be used by the holder anywhere in East Africa. And ITA is accredited to offer such a course. As an Institute of Tax Administration, our function is to build capacity of the staff of not only of TRI, but even the stakeholders of TRI.
On the other hand, the president of Freight Forwarders Association, Eric Urio, elaborates how the East Africa Customs and Freight Forwarding Practicing Certificate Program will help to enhance capabilities among service providers.
We are honored as well to have this collaboration in ensuring that we are building capacity for our members who are TAFA members to make them more competent nationally in terms of tax collection, but even to make them more competent in the region. We have been working closely with ITA in a number of issues, and we believe today's MOU signing and the collaboration is just a door opening to many more collaborations in ensuring that we build Tanzanians with a great capacity and competence in tax collection and customs issues.
The collaboration between ITA and TAFA will last for 5 years. Jeffrey Islamic Business Association is committed to transform small and medium-sized businesses, especially those owned by women, so that they can grow and contribute to the economy. Here are more details.
Jeffrey Islamic Business Association, JIBA, is planning to have Ramadan Souk Trade Fair in Dar es Salaam Saturday this week. Speaking in Dar es Salaam, the chairman of JIBA, Al-Junaid Hasham, said that Ramadan Souk Trade Fair, planned for the coming weekend, is set to provide an opportunity for Tanzanians to make preparations for Eid holiday, saying the market will provide a platform for over 200 exhibitors to showcase their products and networking.
All these small-based businesses, when they're given an opportunity to grow, like we heard yesterday at a meeting, that JIBA gave them wings to not only grow, but to understand what entrepreneurship is and how to get to a certain level where they are excited not only about their business, but actually understand what competition in business is.
It also helps the country to expand its tax base, because now those people who were working from home have now become businesses. The tax table does expand gradually, the economy does expand. So we are actually helping the economy of the country at the end of the day.
On his part, the vice chairman of the institute said that the market has been the catalyst for many women's business to be formalized and contribute to the economy.
Every year, JIBA does some sort of an event, and this for the past 3 years, we've been doing an event called Ramadan Souk by JIBA, and so far, it's been a very successful event. This year, we are doing it on 29th of March at Diamond Jubilee Hall. And we have exceeded over 200 vendors this time. We started preparation way early, and we were sold out.
One of the things as we are focused in Ramadan Souk is the small businesses are getting a market. And it is not only one day. What we have noticed is they start getting lifelong customers. And people that they'll be supplying to either food or clothes or perfume, cosmetics. What happens is there's a rotation of money within our economy because now we're helping our vendors who need to buy from somebody else. And that money gets rotated within the circle. So you see that the middle class in Tanzania can move up.
The trade fair, which follows Islamic principles, is expected to be held on March 29th in Dar es Salaam, where various products, including food, clothes, and henna painting businesses will be displayed. From Dar es Salaam, Rahima Sababili, TBC News.
Thank you, Sababili, for that report. Now, before we wind up local news, let's have a look at today's exchange rates according to the Bank of Tanzania, BOT. Do not miss TBC News every weekday to know all the latest in exchange rates. It's time now for all the latest in international news. Now let us join Nyambona Masamba for international news.
International news starts in Africa. South Sudan Vice President Riek Machar has been placed under house arrest. The convoy of armed vehicle carried the defense minister and chief of national security drove to the vice president's house in Juba. There has been renewed fighting between factions loyal to vice president and President Salva Kiir. The UN is warning a 2018 ceasefire and power-sharing deal is at risk, and the country is at the brink of widespread conflict. Witnesses say trained cars carrying soldiers who were heavily armed came to Machar's property in the night and forcibly disarmed his cars and tools and phones and laptops within the building, and arresting all the guards and staff took them away to unknown location. The regional bloc IGAD has issued a statement saying Machar's arrest collapsing a peace deal and risks South Sudan returning to full-scale war. Meanwhile, the Ugandan army has been deployed in South Sudan on the government side. From South Sudan to Sudan, Sudanese army is making gain across Khartoum after nearly 2 years of fighting with paramilitary rapid support forces. Now, Military Chief Abdel Fattah al-Burhan said the capital is now free. The army has retaken major installation on Wednesday. It also took control of International Airport in Khartoum, also recaptured a base used by RSF and a weapon manufacturing plant. Burhan now has returned to the presidential palace. The paramilitary group has seized it since early days of conflicts. And several prisoners held by RSF have been freed in Jebel al-Walia, south of Khartoum. The group is said to have been fled their former household. Rapid Support Forces issued a statement saying, "We declared our forces have never lost a battle, rather they have strategically repositioned and expanded across the battle fronts to secure their military objectives. They say we will fight until all wars cease, security and stability restored, and our people are finally reclaim their dignity." To Asia, South Korea is battling its worst wildfire in its history. The blazes have killed at least 28 people and forced 37,000 from their home. Many are taking shelters in centers that has been set up by the government or by volunteers. Multiple wildfires fueled by strong winds and dry weather have been raging across the southern east regions since last Friday. And Brazil's Supreme Court has ruled that former President Jair Bolsonaro should stand trial on charge of masterminding an attempted coup in 2023. On January 2023, just 1 week after Brazil, President Lula da Silva was sworn in, thousands of supporters of former President Jair Bolsonaro stormed the National Congress, the Supreme Court, and the other building in Brazil capital, Brasilia. They were asking the military to intervene and prevent President Lula da Silva from taking office. Now, a 5-member panel of Supreme Court has said there's enough evidence for Bolsonaro to stand trial for peace alleged role in which Brazil highest court said was an attempted coup.
That was international news. Sports news up next. And in sports, Simba has advanced to quarter-finals of Federation Cup after 2-1 victory over Big Man in match played at KMC Complex. Simba Sports Club head coach Fadlu David says they didn't play in higher intensity, fearing injuries to the players as they prepare for CAF Confederation Cup quarter-final match against Al Masry to be played in Egypt on the 2nd of April.
Players are playing a little bit with fear of not getting injured, not hurting themselves for the big clash. You could see Mpanzu, a few actions in the beginning because they were quite aggressive as well. Shamu had a bit of a problem that we had to be a little bit cautious with, but he seemed to come out okay. It was very important that we don't that he doesn't get injured in this game and and miss the next game. So job done. We qualify for the next round, not the best.
Simba goals scored by the man of the match, Joshua Mutale and Lionel Ateba in the first half, while the consolation goal of Big Man scored in the second half of the match by Joseph Enoch. That was sports news. And now, before we wind up the news bulletin for tonight, let's have a look at the weather forecasts for the next 24 hours.
And once again, this is 24 hours weather forecast from Tanzania Meteorological Authority. Average wind speed expected over the most part of our country, and distribution of rainfall signal over the most part of our country. For tonight, dear viewer, we expect it to feature cloudy conditions, thunder shower over few areas over the Lake Victoria Basin, western part, northern Eastern Highland. The rest part of our country expect future particular condition, thunder shower over few areas. For tomorrow, we expect future cloudy condition, thunder shower over some area and sun interval over the western part, Lake Victoria Basin, northern Eastern Highland, entire coast, including Morogoro region. Rukwa, together with Songwe region, expect future cloud conditions, thunder shower over Fure and sun interval. The rest part of our country expect future particular condition, thunder shower over Fure and sun periods. TMA issue an advisory of expecting heavy precipitation at times over the Lake Victoria Basin, northern Eastern Highland, entire coast, including Morogoro, together with central part. Please take note on that. Let's have a look for the 4 days weather forecast for some part of our country, starting from the day after tomorrow. Dar es Salaam expect future particular condition, thunder shower over few areas. And Dodoma expect future particular condition, thunder shower over few and sun periods. Mbeya expect future particular condition, thunder shower over few and sun periods. Mwanza expect future particular condition, thunder shower over few and sun periods. Kilimanjaro expect future particular condition, thunder shower over few, except on 5th of April expect future rain shower. Together with Morogoro region expect future particular condition, thunder shower over few areas. For Arusha, expect future particular conditions, thunder shower over fury and sun periods. Dear viewer, we thank you for watching us and have a good night.
And on that note, we are ending our news bulletin for tonight, but do not miss our next bulletin in Kiswahili at 11 p.m. I am Faida Ngaga. Good night.